Legitimately, one of the most important things to know and learn in Escape from Tarkov is how to play the spawns. Knowing where you're spawning, where your enemy's going to be, and how you play that situation is huge. In this video, we are doing a follow-up to our custom spawn guide. We are doing Interchange. I thought this was a perfect time to do this because they just made that update where Killa can spawn so many more places, and that is drastically going to affect how you play that out, depending on whether you want PvP, want PvE, going for quests, or loot. So we're going to talk about all that in this video. If you like the video, think about dropping a like, commenting down below, or subscribing to the channel for more content like this. All that stuff helps me out a lot more than you think, so thank you so much to those that do that. I also stream Escape from Tarkov on Twitch. All my links will be down below. I'd love to have you stop by and say hey. But with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive right in. So we're going to be using mapgenie.io. I'll link that down below for the map. This is one of the best maps, in my opinion, because you can kind of toggle on or off anything that you want to know. This is really nice. But as you can see, there are quite a few spawn points on Interchange. Quite a few. I would say this is probably the second worst map as far as being able to spawn, and in some cases just kind of look directly to your left or right and see another player. They can be very predictable, which is why this map, it is really important to know and understand them so that you can know whether you're about to be in danger or not. Now, like on the customs and like on all the maps, just because there is a spawn point doesn't mean you can spawn that close. Like these two spawns would never get put together. So we kind of group them together in clumps and then talk about what to do in each situation. So we'll just start up in the top left at the railway exfil. So I would say basically any of these top 5 or 6 are not going to spawn together. If you get the farthest out ones out here, there's a chance that the guys can spawn all the way in here. So this entire top left 8 or 9 is not one clump, but if you spawn kind of right here at the road or right here, I doubt that there's going to be somebody this close to you. But if you spawn all the way out kind of back by the railroad, then one of these spots can be filled. Obviously, I don't have access to code on like exactly what the percent chance are or the proximity is. It's also going to depend on how many PMCs it's putting in that raid, if it's a full raid or not. But up in this back left corner by the railroad and by the road here. Across Interchange, for the most part, what everybody's doing is trying to bum rush into the mall as soon as possible. Well, Interchange is a really interesting map because you've got a bunch of people that are going for the Killa farm for the Stylish 1 quest, and that means they are trying to get in as fast as possible and get to Killa as fast as possible and just get out so they can grind that out and get their 100 Killa kills. You also have a separate group of people that are just going in to farm loot. They're not really looking for fights, but they will range anywhere from a hatchet runner to somebody who's fully geared, who's ready for a fight, but he's not really looking for them. And they are going to path through the high value loot spawns. And that kind of, especially a few months into the wipe, represents a large portion of the Interchange player base, unfortunately. And then whatever's left could be questing, just there for PvP, just there to have a good time. But for the most part, everybody is trying to bum rush inside the mall as fast as possible. The exception to that is going to be people looking for the secret stashes. So knowing that all the little Jaeger stashes are outside of the mall, kind of along the outskirts, you may find people that hang back and do this. And this is actually one of the best strategies to do if you're not looking for that PvP immediately. But for the most part, whether you're trying to quest, whether you're trying to get PvP, whether you're trying to get Killa or whatever, for the most part, it's a bum rush to the mall as soon as possible. So if you get one of these farther out spawns by the road or something like that, really you're probably just running straight in to the front of Idea or underground. I haven't really gotten into a situation where you get out to the road and look to the right and see these guys aggro pushing in. They can. It really depends on what this spawn, the scav camp spawn. If they're looking for something in Idea specifically, then they might take a hard left here. So you're going to have to be at least a little bit careful to your right. If you play it too slow and you're really, really cautious out here, you know, like walking really slow across these roads, you either could get sniped, you could lose any potential to get into Idea first, or one of these other spawns could come up behind you. So once again, a lot of times it's about moving quickly, but be aware that if these guys are going to cut in hard left, especially if they have like an SJ6 or something, you could spot somebody to the right as you come in. And there is a possibility for somebody to get one of these back spawns that's going to be coming in as well. Any of these entrances to the mall are going to be choke points early on. In the first 60 seconds of the map, of the raid. Any of these entrances have the potential to be choke points. You never know what somebody is going to do. Interchange is big. The mall is big. There's lots of quests. There's lots of loot. You never know, but being aware that almost every spawn you have on Interchange, you're going to need to be looking to the left and to the right. And this left side of the map is the more dangerous side because you're farther away from cover. So if you're at the scav camp, if you're at the bottom left here, or if you're at the top right by railway, you have to travel more distance to get inside the building, which means you're going to have to be a little bit more cautious. So any of these spawns, if you want to hang back and look for stashes, that's definitely going to be the play. If you don't want PvP, hang back, loot some stashes back here. There's quite a few of them, and then move in more slowly into the mall if that's what you want to do. If you're looking for PvP or that high value loot, you're going to have to get inside as soon as possible. Quick mention for these spawns up here. If you spawn up on this hill right here on the other side of this little construction area, you can get to the power station pretty quickly. So if you're going for PvP quick, you are most likely going to be able to catch these people at the power station because they're going to want to loot power station. They're not going to want to go straight inside. At least most of the time, you never really know. But there's stashes out here. There's high-tech loot spawns that can happen at the power station. And then a lot of people are going to hit the power as well. So be wary of that. If you want to push across here, you can get some PvP pretty early. Same thing with the scav camp here. You are really out in the middle. If you get this spawn, you kind of have to push. If you get this spawn and you don't want PvP at all, you're really, really trying to survive, your only other play is really hiding these connexes because these guys are going to be coming up. These guys are going to be coming up. You don't really have a place to like go backwards and loot stashes. There's not a lot of loot around here. You can try and loot these tents and stuff like that, but your play is really pushing directly into the mall. And then in this back corner here, where this is an interesting one, you actually have to be really careful with some of these on where your extract is. A lot of times it's really easy mentally to get into a place where if you go into Ollie, that means you have to go out of idea. But in this spawn here, a lot of times you're actually getting Emercom as your extract. So you might go into Ollie, loot up, fight some, go into Goshen, go into the center of the mall, go into idea to loot, and then actually have to loop all the way back. So be aware of that as far as where your extract is. Same deal. You're pushing towards the mall and being aware of where other players are. This is one of those situations where if you get this back spawn, I haven't really ever had somebody spawn right here. These are a little bit too close together, but you can definitely get this spawn, and then there's definitely going to be people spawning at Emercom, and you can get these spawns. So the ones that are much closer to the mall, the ones that are much closer to the wall here, you actually can get these spawns and have people in the back corner at Emercom. The Emercom spawns are almost always going to be filled. So if you get this spawn and you don't want PvP, hightail it underneath into the parking garage or into Ollie. If you want to push really aggressive spawn PvP, you can almost always catch people moving in this direction. Kind of like a side note here is that the underground is generally a safer place to be if you're wanting to avoid PvP. Because of the nature of the way Interchange is laid out, a lot of times, like we said, the only play is really to push into the mall, and there's going to be a lot of PvP really, really early on in the map. If you got an opposite spawn, if you got the railway spawn, but you need something in Ollie, like a quest item or something, or vice versa, the underground, learning this is pretty important. Understanding where you can kind of like jet underneath from your spawn, and then how to navigate this to get to the other side, to come up from the little kind of like broken floor ramp to get Killa or Kibble loot or something like that. I would definitely recommend spending some time in an offline raid with the map up to learn that, because that is one of the best ways to play more passively with a lot of these spawns, because you're going to have to make a really quick decision as soon as you spawn in on Interchange, and using the underground can be really helpful. It's still going to be dangerous, but most people are going up to get that loot up top as quick as possible. All right, moving down to the bottom right-hand corner of the map, the Emercom checkpoint. This is a pretty brutal place to spawn because really anything can happen. I have seen raids where 8 PMCs get into a fight within the first 5 minutes of the game, and it's all this. You get the hole in the fence people pushing for PvP. You get these people on the side of Ollie pushing for PvP. You get the people that spawn at Emercom that don't have a choice. They have to move forward, and you can find a bunch of people in there a lot of times. Or it could be nobody and everybody's pushing inside. But you have to be careful. If you get any of these Emercom checkpoint spawns, you kind of have to be aggressive to get inside. If you get the back ones all the way back in the corner, you definitely need to be looking along this hill to see if these guys are pushing you, and keeping an eye out to the right, because at the hole in the fence, these guys, if they want to be aggressive, are going to be pushing down. So be aware here. If you get these close spawns, these are actually some of the best spawns depending on what you want to do. You can actually spawn in the little construction area or up at the top of the ramp. These are some of the closest spawns to some of the highest tier loot if you want to get through Ollie and get to Tech Light, Texo, Rasmussen, Killa, all sorts of stuff like that. And they're just safe in the sense that you're basically spawning, touching the building, and you're really close to cover. So even if you want to play passively, these are pretty safe spawns, but you are going to have to worry about people behind you and in front of you, basically. Like we said, this whole side, you're going to be a lot closer to cover. You're going to be a lot closer to the building, so it's easier to get to cover if you want to play more passively, but you have to be aware that there's a lot of aggressive people kind of pushing. If you're all the way in this back corner, you can hang back and play slow a little bit, wait for these guys to push in, hit some caches, and work your way around, and then enter the mall much later. But this side, everything is a little bit more squished together. It's going to be a harder time doing that. The hole in the fence spawn is basically good for whatever you want to do. If you want aggressive PvP, you can go straight down to Emercom. You can go straight up to power. If you want to play passive and not really want to worry about PvP, you can just hike it right into the mall there underneath using the underground. Do whatever you want to do. If you want Killa or high tier loot, you're pretty close to that as well. So this is kind of a nice spawn for doing whatever you want to do because you're so close to cover. Normally, any spawn where you're squished in between a bunch of people is a bad thing, but you're so close to just being able to push into the mall that it's not really that big of a deal. And then finally, up in the top right, we've got the power station spawn. This is a nice spawn because, once again, it's close to the mall. It's close to cover because you have the actual power station. There's pretty decent loot in there. You can find graphics cards, military cables, 1G phones. There's a lot of streamer item spawns in there. There are a few caches out there. There's scavs out here. The car extract is here. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of things out at the power station, but sometimes you're going to get that sandwich where everybody wants to be aggressive and everybody's pushing in. Sometimes it's a ghost town and everybody just wants to get in the mall, and you kind of have your time to loot everything, kill any scavs, do whatever you want. The power is a contentious thing. A lot of people want the power on, but they don't want to be the one to turn on the power. I normally hit it because I want to hit Kiba if I can, if I have the ability to. If you don't hit it and you're out there for a really long time, just be aware that eventually somebody's going to come and push that button. Almost every time, eventually somebody's going to come out and hit the power station button. So that is it as far as covering all the spawns on Interchange. The big thing to be aware of now is that Killa can spawn so many places now. It used to be that he would basically just spawn in this tiny little area outside of Kiba and then in some of these stores. At least for now, we don't know if this is going to be around forever, but at least for now, he can spawn upstairs or downstairs or in the parking garage. I found him in the parking garage underneath Ollie 10 seconds after I spawned into the raid. I spawned in, I ran underground, and I saw Killa and another PMC fighting. So he can be in the parking garage, in any of the stores. He can be upstairs or downstairs, and that is going to dramatically just change how you're moving through if you want Killa. And if you don't, you have to be much more careful. You used to just be able to check out as long as you weren't in this middle area and Killa didn't aggro to you, you didn't have to worry about it. Now you have to be aware of that at all times. I personally like the change. I understand why some people don't, but that is something to be very aware of. Because basically no matter what playstyle you have, now you have to worry about somebody missing Killa or him spawning in a weird spot and you having to deal with him. So that's it. That's the Interchange spawn guide. I don't want these videos to be too long, but I do want to give you helpful information basically anywhere you spawn. I really hope that this was helpful and hope that this kind of guides you when you're playing Interchange, whether you're a veteran to the game going for more PvP and more loot, or whether you're a new player to the game and you're trying to just survive. Thank you so much, as always, for taking the time to check out the video. If you liked the video, think about dropping a like, commenting down below, or subscribing to the channel for more content like this. Like we said before, I stream Escape from Tarkov on Twitch. All my links will be down below. I'd love to have you stop by and say hey. And if you're looking for people to play Tarkov with, our Discord community is an awesome place to be with over 10,000 members. That link is down below as well. Thank you again for stopping by, and I will definitely see y'all on the next one.